All right, great. So it's a very thoughtful and a very provocative topic. I would say that it is. When we start our health journey or when we start our weight loss journey, the most important thing that we are focused on largely is calories. But it is no more a calories game. In fact, the way we are eating the food, what is going into our food, is now becoming a very, very big factor in terms of determining how our health will be, also how our weight loss journey will be, right? So that is where the chemicals come into picture. I'm sure everybody is aware that there are a lot of chemicals going into our food, even and of course packaged food, etc. It is obviously there. Even the natural food that we eat in terms of vegetables, fruits, our grains, etc., those are also getting laden with a lot of chemicals. And these chemicals are basically changing the relationship that we have with our food. And is this relationship changing for good? Not really. It is changing for the worse. So all these chemicals, see, when we started our journey of packaged food, this was largely in the industrial era, and the requirement came in because many of the folks started getting into a 9 to 5, 9 to 6 kind of a job. So cooking was not very easy, or there was no time left out for cooking, and that's when the packaged food industry started sprouting up. And a lot of women folks getting into this industrialized era, that also led to more and more easier options of food that should be available. And that's how we see a lot of packaged food these days, because it brings with it a lot of convenience, a lot of ease, and saves a lot of time for us. So the chemicals were initially used to provide larger shelf life for the food, and also to be, they should not get rancid or they should not get bad. That was the intention with which the chemicals were introduced into this food. But now this intention has totally changed, and this has become a large and big industry now. So let me show you some of the examples how we are being tricked into eating certain things which are food like, but this is constantly changing our taste buds. This is constantly changing the way we eat food, how much we eat food, and what are we craving for. So I have an example here of fresh strawberries versus a yogurt made of strawberry. And I think there is no rocket science in understanding that when we are asked to eat strawberry, probably we'll eat 4 5, and if you really like strawberry you might eat a little more, but eventually you will stop at it. But yogurt, you can, and especially if strawberry is your favorite fruit, you can end up eating 1 or 2 bottles as well. So what's happening? See, the natural food is naturally occurring, and then it does not have defined taste. I mean, what I mean to say is that every strawberry will not taste the same. Some will be sweet, some will be sour, and some might not even be tasty, right? So that's how the nature has made the food. But come our packaged food, what is happening? It has a very, very consistent taste. We know when we buy a bottle of yogurt, what is the taste going to be like? And our brain and our mind is already focused on what we are going to eat and the pleasure that we are going to get out of it. Another example, and this is also related to the calories problem that we have with all the packaged food. If you're asked to eat a bowl of salad, I'm sure, yeah, we are into health nowadays, so we can do a little bit of justice to salad. But then, if I ask you to eat about 300, 400 grams of salad, maybe you can. But beyond that, no, not possible, right? So, eating vegetables, and forget salad, I mean, even a cooked vegetable, there is a limitation to how much you can eat. And a lot of times when we start our weight loss program, a lot of people start saying, "Roz khana padega kya sabzi? Zaruri hai kya khana sabzi?" And those kind of things, right? So it's really difficult to eat too much quantity of vegetables. But get a pack of chips and you can finish it in a jiffy, and they are so palatable. You can, even though you don't want to, but it's quite possible that you will be able to consume the entire packet. And the difference in the calories, you can only imagine what will it be if you're eating a bowl of salad versus you're doing a packet of chips. So these are some of the things that are changing in our food landscape, especially the packaged goods that are coming in, right? So we are not only uh, eating more, we are also finding it difficult to let go of some of these packages. We develop cravings, we develop dependency. So it's almost, like becoming addiction, so to say, in terms of these food that we are eating. So a little bit of understanding of what these chemicals are, how are they getting into our food, and why do they make things difficult for us in terms of our health and weight loss. Right? So what are these additives doing? Right. So there are various kind of additives. I'm sure some of them are very familiar. For example, MSG is one of the most known additive that is nowadays used, and MSG is known to produce addictive behavior over a long period of consumption, and I'm sure all of us have heard about it. Interestingly, I mean, I have listed all these additives here. Another interesting thing is artificial food coloring, right? So we think it's just a color, it doesn't matter, and nowadays there's a lot of organic coloring and close to nature coloring. But what is this coloring doing, even if it is, so to say, safe in terms of consumption? This coloring is giving a feeling, or it is also triggering in our brains that this food looks very good, very beautiful. And when our brain sees something good, something beautiful, which is soothing to our eyes, naturally we have this tendency to be attracted towards it. And that is also leading to a lot of overeating and becoming addictive to certain food items. Another interesting additive that is now being added is artificial flavoring. Right. So initially the intention was to just preserve the food, enhance its shelf life, but now flavors are being added to food, specific flavors, which also triggers our brain cells to ask for that flavor or ask for that uh, ingredient in our food. Right. So this is basically creating a mouth feel, right? So all of these additives, they don't create any difference in terms of how you digest the food or what is happening inside your digestive system. But the very first digestion system that we have, which is our mouth, where it all starts, this is where these chemicals go, and they create that mouth feel, they create that impression, they create that experience for all of us, because of which we start getting addicted to this food. So just quickly, what is happening? See, our body is a very very good machine, and the way we have been made, God has already given us an understanding that when to stop eating. We have a mechanism to identify our hunger, where to stop it, and all of that. But with these additives that are getting into food, this homeostatic control, which the body uh, has naturally has in terms of controlling the hunger or in terms of identifying when to stop eating food, is getting bypassed, and this is leading to a hedonic control which is being done by these additives. And because of this, our brain is not able to identify, should I stop eating, should I eat more, is this good for me, or do I really need it, and all of that. And that is where the brain also triggers a lot of hormones, which are dopamine, serotonin. So you get additional pleasure when you eat all of this, and this becomes a vicious cycle. So since there is a breakage in terms of the signaling that is happening from the brain, whether you should eat, not eat, how much to eat, etc., this then starts becoming addiction. And as I mentioned, since the calories also go unmonitored, it leads to obesity and overeating. So this is essentially what these chemicals are doing in your body. Now, I have a very interesting example here, and this is a real life example. I just, so obviously we also eat sometimes pizza and pasta. So, a while back I was using a pizza and pasta sauce. So on the left hand side, you see one of the sauces that I have used. It's a very common brand name available. If you look at the ingredient list, apart from the tomato, onions, and everything, there are some 5, 6 ingredients that are listed. Acidity regulator, emulsifiers and stabilizers, prevent preservative, antioxidant, soya, and whatnot, right? And you see on the right hand side. So I was looking for a sauce which was not having all these ingredients or not having all these additives. So I found one relatively better, I would say, in terms of packaged food. So if you see the ingredients here, you can see that 85% of it is tomato paste, oregano, garlic powder, etc. Right? So very, very close to probably what we would have prepared in our home or naturally eaten. right? So we ate both these sauces, and this was the reaction, right? So obviously the first one tasted, so-called tasted very good and great, and this one, obviously we have to get used to this taste because it is like, you're just eating tomatoes. So, the question then comes is, are we being programmed to dislike natural food? Right. So, can you imagine that? I mean, see, a lot of times we say that, oh, this is not tasty, and so I should not, why do I have to eat it? But what we also all have to understand is that all these additives that are getting into our food, somewhere in our minds, we are also getting programmed that we are not able to like the natural food so much. We are not able to enjoy the taste. We are not able to uh, understand the taste that is already existing in nature, right? So this is exactly what is happening, and it's a real life example that I have before you. Okay, so the question is now what to do, right? So the first thing that I recommend to all of you is read the labels. Obviously, we have heard this all. Nowadays, there's a lot of content that comes in terms of what should you read in a label, calories, carbohydrate, fat, and protein. But my request and my suggestion to all of you is read beyond that. I just showed you two examples of the ingredients that are available in the packaged foods. So read what are those, and the moment you find that the ingredient list is, going into some 25, 30 items, and half of it is something that you don't understand, or are in the segment of additives, chemicals, etc., that is where you should raise a red flag and understand that this is not something that you should be consuming, or at least limiting the consumption of that. So read those labels apart from reading your calories and carbohydrates and protein content, etc. Even for the natural food, it is very, very important to check the source and how have they been sourced. So just to give you an example of this banana, so you see one of them is chemically ripened, the other one is naturally ripened. And there's, you can identify which one is chemically ripened and which one is naturally ripened. And, needless to say that the one which is naturally ripened should be consumed, because while the chemically ripened, the chemical is only being sprayed on the banana, but eventually through the skin and our eating, we will end up consuming these chemicals. So even when you are taking the natural food, please understand where they have been sourced. Are they in season, or they are totally hybrid, have some chemicals been used on them? And use closer. I mean, something that really looks beautiful need not be always healthy, so be mindful and watchful of that. This I really find it very amazing that how we have also become a trap in terms of the advertisement field. So you see there are two types of advertisement that are being shown, and how our mind is getting trapped in terms of uh, provocating that you should eat this packaged food at certain point in time. The first one, which is about this veg atta noodles, is very easier to say, something being advertised as being healthy. But the question really begs is that, is 2-minute noodle really a healthy option, even if 5-10% of it is wheat? And trust me, 90-95% of this will be still maida, and they have just infused a little bit of wheat into it. So obviously, is it really healthy? The second and the most interesting thing is our relationship with respect to certain events and milestones in our life, and how the advertisement industry has made us to feel that on those instances, on those events, and on those milestones, we should be consuming processed food. Now, the problem with that thinking is that it is also making certain brain connections for you. Like, for example, you're since this is a cricket season, you watch a match and India wins, and then it is a time to call for noodles, right? So your brain has made an association that yes, as and when the events happen, it is the time for me to crave for something in terms of the processed food. Now, unfortunately, the problem is that we have so many of these events, right? Now, once the match gets over, you will have Diwali, you will have Christmas, you will have New Year. So it is never ending. You have birthdays, you have anniversaries and everything, right? So it will never end. So this kind of association, which has been built by this advertisement industry, should also be minimized, and we should not consume processed foods, especially on our happy occasions, because that is also forming a neural pathway suggesting that you should be eating such food at special occasions, giving you extra pleasure and extra feeling of goodness, right? So, in nutshell, the point is that minimize the intake of packaged food, especially the ultra processed food, and watch out for what is being packed in these processed food, so that not only your health gets benefited, because obviously there are a lot of uh, side effects of all these chemical additives that are in there in the food. And also, if you're trying to lose weight, this could be one of the deterrent factors in not getting results for you, even though you might be thinking that yes, you are doing everything right and correct. So that is what I had to share.